What's up, everybody? Hi, Deanna. You can pause that, Bob. Nick here from NICKTENDO. I don't know what that says. Today we're going to talk about the Marvel shows on Netflix. I have a special guest coming on. We'll do a quick recap before we get started. The Walking Dead, episode 10. Fantastic. Again, very good one. There were no new updates on Super Smash Bros., of course. We're still working on the 100 follower giveaway. We've gotten much closer. So once I hit 100, again, I'm going to give out 2 big prizes for somebody. It'll be for video gaming systems and stuff. So definitely help me get to 100. Tell your friends. Get everybody to watch the show. And now it's time to introduce Bobby. So he is the Red Vandal. He does all the artwork for my show. So come on in, Bob. We'll knock all this out. Follow. Alright. So we're here, and we're talking about the Marvel shows on Netflix. So we're going to talk about Daredevil, we're going to talk about The Punisher, Jessica Jones. We're going to do everything in chronological order from when they came onto Netflix. So we're going to talk about how Marvel took over. They got involved with Netflix. We're going to talk about at the end what's going on with that right now, which a lot of you probably know about now. Hi, Dylan. All these shows at one point or another cross over. At one point they all come together, minus The Punisher, which is really cool. The characters cross over into other shows. And the location is always kind of the same. So, hi, buddy. Alright, so first off, we're going to talk about Daredevil Season 1. It came out in 2015. Bobby, who is Daredevil?
Daredevil is Matt Murdock, which is, by day, he is a lawman. He works...
A lawyer, it's called.
Leave me alone. He's a lawyer, and he goes things on the books by day.
Hey, buddy.
But by night, he dresses up.
He's a vigilante. So the big thing with Matt Murdock is blind. He was not born blind. The show starts off with the episode, and it goes on in like a lot of the movies and all the comics kind of the same way. Hi, Martin. Hi, Erin. Hi, Ryan and Megan and Melissa, if you're there too. So Matt Murdock is blind. There was an accident. He was walking or running, and there was like a car accident, and this acid poured into his eyes, and it caused him to go blind, and that's how he lives the rest of his life. He wears these red spectacles. That was the big part of the backstory. His dad was Battling Jack Murdock. He was a boxer. He kind of got Matt into fighting, who became Daredevil again, as we were talking about. Hey, Anthony. Oh, Connor, what's up, buddy? So anyways, Matt would just feel his dad's face when he came back home. We're not going to spoil anything. Before we keep going, I forgot to do this. We're not going to spoil anything for Daredevil 3 or for Punisher 2. Everything else is being spoiled, because if you haven't seen it, you should see it.
It's been a few years.
Hi, Connor. Yeah, so basically, the show goes on, and you learn that Stick, this guy Stick, was the mentor for Matt. And what was the big thing about Stick?
He was also blind.
Stick was also blind, so Stick taught Matt how to fight. He basically kicked his ass every day. I gave you a shout-out when Aaron signed on. So Stick used to just beat on Matt, and then he would learn how to defend himself in that way. The cool thing was with Matt was he never had a suit. He always wore this black suit with just a shirt, gloves. Bye, Megs. He used to wear just a black shirt, pants, and gloves, and he'd wear a blindfold because he didn't want anyone to know he was actually blind before he would go into fighting. When did he actually get the suit?
The season finale of season 1.
Right, and who made him the suit? Do you remember the guy's name? He's in every season, and he's in a lot of the shows. I don't remember his name.
He's bald. That's all you really have to...
Dylan, I don't agree with that, but Elektra is cool. Anyways, so it's this Russian guy who is doing things for the enemy. So the enemy starts off as this group called The Hand. The Hand are like these ninjas that Matt has to fight. There's tons of them everywhere. And they just keep coming to Hell's Kitchen where he lives and where he does his law work. So he's a vigilante. What else do we have on here? Hell's Kitchen fights the Hand. The next thing is somebody comes into town and wants to become the mayor. This person is Wilson Fisk. If you know who Wilson Fisk is, we are going to leak that at the end of talking about Season 3. So don't get mad, because you should all know who Wilson Fisk is. So the first episode goes where Matt and his buddy Foggy are lawyers. They're working together. They own this little shop, basically. It's like a hole in the wall where they do their law from. And somebody is victimized from Wilson Fisk's men, and her name is Karen Page. She goes on to be in a ton of these shows, which is kind of cool, although I can't stand her. We'll talk about it. So she becomes their first client. They decide, hey, we'll get you out of your trouble because Wilson Fisk tries to blackmail her. Hi, Jackie. And basically she gets put into jail for something she didn't do, and Matt and Foggy prove her innocent, and she doesn't have any money, so she decides, oh, hey, we can help you. I can help you by working for you as basically a secretary. So that's how season 1 goes. The suit comes in at the end we talked about. That's when Matt finally fights Wilson Fisk, who is just corrupting the city and everything. And now we're going to talk about Jessica Jones. The first season was in 2015. In episode 1, a major character of another show gets introduced. Who is that?
Luke Cage gets introduced on
So what's Luke Cage's backstory in Jessica Jones? Do you remember?
In Jessica Jones, he was the bartender of a local bar that Jessica always went to.
Jessica is an alcoholic beyond belief.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a big thing. She basically can't function without waking up to a bottle of whiskey. It's pretty sick. What else do you know about Luke? How does it all start?
His skin is impenetrable.
Right, so he's just basically, he can't be broken. He becomes what's known as Power Man. They don't call him that in the show. And the other thing is, we didn't really watch much of Luke Cage, so I don't know if by season 2 Luke Cage became the Power Man, which, sorry, if you know, tell us, because that'd be cool. And do you know he wears the yellow shirt like he does in the comic?
What was in Luke Cage 1, what was the old man calls him Power Man?
Oh, that's right, yeah, he hangs out in this barbershop. We'll get into Luke Cage in a minute. It's coming up. The other big thing is the show starts off, Jessica Jones starts off, Luke Cage's wife is already dead. Later on the show, you find out that, we'll go about who the bad guy is first. We're going out of order a little bit with these things. I didn't exactly do a great outline here. So episode 1 starts off, Jessica is drinking, she's also a PI, so she takes pictures of people and blackmails them for money. That's how her job goes. You find out in the first episode, Jessica goes to all these places that she's already been, and they're places that... Who brought her there?
I'm actually not... Oh yeah, Kilgrave.
Yeah, Kilgrave. Kilgrave is the name of the bad guy. I told you, spoilers for everything but Daredevil 3 and Punisher 2. Dude, the shows came out in 2015, you're behind. Anyways, so Kilgrave is the name of the bad guy. Kilgrave's power is that Kilgrave will tell you something, and you do it, no matter what it is. At one point in the show, this guy is walking in the street, and he bumps into him and pisses off Kilgrave, and Kilgrave tells him, stare at this wall. And literally, like, the season finale kind of ends where you still see the guy staring at the wall. He never got to move. It was really messed up. In my eyes, I don't know about in your eyes, was Kilgrave one of the best villains you've ever seen?
Yes. I think his power was actually kind of terrifying.
It was, and the way they ended the first episode was Jessica kept going to all these places that she had already been. The restaurant Kilgrave took her to, a hotel, all these things, the dress she was wearing. It was crazy, but he did it all to this other girl. Jessica finds the other girl in the hotel and tells her, you can get out of here. Jessica finds the girl because her parents try looking for her and find Jessica as a PI. Oh, look who came on. It's your dad.
Hey, Dad.
And, hi, Carrie. And, so they find everything. She finds the people. She tells the parents she knows where they are. Jessica doesn't realize that Kilgrave had told this girl to already do something. So when her parents take her out of this hotel room, Jessica leaves her in the elevator, takes the stairs to check everything out, and
this girl was told by Kilgrave to kill her 2 parents.
Yeah, so she murdered her 2 parents, and that's basically how the show takes off. Kilgrave can tell you whatever he wants, and that's what goes on. So Jessica decides that she's going to go and cut a deal with him and stay with him for a little while. So he wants her to go back to her hometown. Jessica has no family besides her friend Trish. Trish, to me, is more annoying than Karen Page and Daredevil. I can't stand either of them. I think they are both complete trouble.
Yeah. You're right, yeah.
The dude's name.
It's Melvin Potter, yeah.
Yes, it is!
Yeah,
oh my
wow.
god! Yes! Way to go, Trove! That's right, Melvin Potter. He's the man until season 3, but we're not going to talk about that part. But he's awesome. Melvin Potter, he makes the suit for Daredevil, and he does all these weapons and stuff. It's great. So yeah, Trish does this show, Trish Talk, and she tries to talk to people about Kilgrave. It's like a talk show. She's a host. And she tries to get it out there, and Jessica gets pissed because she's like, oh, Kilgrave can hear you. But that's what they want. Trish kind of wants Jess to find Kilgrave throughout the whole show, and it's not the best plan because Trish is an idiot. Trish falls in love with this cop named Simpson, who's going to help them out the whole time. Simpson is also an idiot. So Jess goes back to her childhood home and everything. That goes on. And then eventually she just leaves, pisses off Kilgrave, and they find each other again. So what happens is Jess captures Kilgrave in this, it's like a vault of some kind, where his powers won't work. So if you talk to him from outside the room and he tells you to do something, it doesn't happen, because this vault is meant to keep his powers under control. So Jessica decides, we can figure out what's going on and what made him this way and what made him crazy and a murderer, and she decides to do what?
She basically, what was it? Yeah. Locked in the cage. So she brings his parents back to talk to him to see what kind of information that he can get out of him.
Trying to make him feel just better or whatever, and try and fix what's going on, because she thinks it goes back to his childhood. Yeah. Bringing his parents in, so what happens is there somehow gets, I remember, water getting into the vault.
Mm. And that's really...
And then at one point he tells his dad, he picks up a scissor, and what does he tell his dad?
Just stab.
He tells him to stab himself as many times as
he could, and then...
Yeah, and then his dad dies and his mom gets electrocuted, and he gets back out again.
Yeah.
So how it goes is, at one point, we forgot to talk about the Daredevil episodes we talked about. Mm-hmm. That's okay. We'll talk about it later. So, the show comes towards the end, and Kilgrave gets hold of Luke. And he has Luke fight Jessica. And it was a crazy scene because Jessica is also basically unbreakable. But her and Luke are fighting, and Luke is much bigger than her. And the only way she figures out how to stop Luke from killing her is she ends up shooting him with a shotgun, but it's basically just like getting an uppercut for him. And he ends up getting knocked out.
Completely knocked out, yeah.
And he ends up in a hospital, and this is where the first crossover takes place. You want to talk about the crossover?
The first crossover was someone from season 1 of Daredevil, which was the nurse that takes care of Daredevil when he gets hurt, which is Claire Temple.
Basically, episode 2 of Daredevil starts off where he goes to find a kidnapped child, and he gets his ass kicked. And the next episode, he wakes up in a dumpster, and this woman Claire finds him, and she stitches him up, learns pretty much everything about him, figure out he's the vigilante. He doesn't exactly go by Daredevil, he goes by the Devil of Hell's Kitchen for a long, long time. So she stitches him up, and she becomes a character in all of the shows. So in Jessica Jones season 1, the finale, Luke Cage, she goes to put a needle in him to give him something like an IV or whatever, and his skin just breaks it. So she realizes, I've seen this before with somebody, he's another metahuman. That's what they're known as, are the metas. So that was their first crossover. Then it goes to Daredevil season 2, so none of the other shows have started yet. Daredevil season 2 is a year after the first one. He starts off in his suit. He does the whole season throughout in his suit. Most of the characters remain the same except for the new villains, which we'll talk about. He still fights the Hand most of the time. But the big thing is the Punisher comes in the second episode. Daredevil finds the Punisher because Daredevil isn't into killing anybody. He wants what's good for the... he uses justice and law with Foggy, his avocado outlaw, they call themselves. And Karen, who tries to help out. But the Punisher, who is Frank Castle, wants to kill people because his family was killed. So he wants the people who killed his family. He does everything for revenge. Daredevil wants to stop that. And in the second episode, the Punisher ends up shooting Daredevil in the head, but his mask stops it and it cracks his mask. It became a big thing. He went back to Melvin. And he ends up getting a new mask. He keeps the suit the same, gets a new mask, makes everything kind of bulletproof. Daredevil loses another fight to him where the Punisher has him chained up on a roof where he can't move. And what did you talk about earlier? What's the biggest quote from Daredevil season 2?
Is that Punisher says to Daredevil at the time is that you're one bad day from being me. And I think it really stands throughout the next season of Daredevil as well.
Right. So the Punisher is on the roof with him, and he has a gun named that Sunday, and he tries to explain to Daredevil, like, hey, you can't stop me from doing this. This is what has to happen. I need to do this for what happened to my family. Daredevil finds his way out. I don't remember exactly how it happened. I haven't rewatched the season, but it was another great season. It's still the best show out of the Marvel shows, I think. And then the next thing was a big enemy came back. Not exactly an enemy. Her name is Elektra. Elektra comes back. They have a whole backstory episode about how her and Matt used to be in love. And how, even though he's blind, she would take him places. They would break into houses. They'd mess around. And then... Yes, Foggy was Fulton Reed. Very nice. I remember that from season 1. The big 44. I think that was his number.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's really out of shape in Daredevil for a mighty duck. So Elektra wants Matt to kill somebody, and Daredevil won't do it. That's kind of how his whole not killing people started, and that's how his relationship with Elektra went away. Elektra and him still fight together. They fight the Hand throughout the season. The Punisher comes along. He keeps coming in and out of it a little bit. Elektra ends up dying by the Hand by the end of the show and put into this weird coffin, and you kind of get the feeling Elektra isn't done yet. The final fight, do you remember the rooftop fight between Daredevil and the Hand?
Yeah.
Okay, so Elektra dies, and then do you remember who kind of like comes in and saves Daredevil to finish it?
It was Punisher.
Yeah. So
was that the sniper scene?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was incredible. So Daredevil is being outnumbered, and basically from rooftop fight, all of a sudden he hears a shot fired, and he turns around, and one of the members of the Hand is dead, and he looks, and it's Frank Castle. It's the Punisher. The Punisher. Do you remember what the Punisher called him all season long?
Red.
Just Red.
Yeah,
That's
it was just
Red. No real name. Didn't call him Daredevil. Just called him Red. But now he was the Daredevil at this point. So yeah, Elektra dies on the rooftop. Daredevil gets pissed, goes into this massive fight. Punisher kind of bails him out of it, and they let each other walk away. Daredevil doesn't kill him. Punisher doesn't kill him either. That will all be continued on a later part of the show when we get more into other episodes of shows. Then we're going to talk about Luke Cage Season 1. So we didn't do too hot with Luke Cage.
No.
I wasn't very into it. He wasn't very into it. We didn't exactly finish Season 1, and I didn't exactly start Season 2.
I didn't either.
No.
Didn't even get past halfway through.
If you want to talk about Luke Cage, type in your stuff, and we'll talk about what you have to say about it. All I know is that there were a lot of old hip-hop artists in it, which was kind of cool. A lot of big backstories, basically. It all had to do with some barbershop that Luke went to, and when it was attacked.
Yeah, it gets shot up.
Show was trash. Yes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people couldn't finish this one. This one in Iron Fist. Iron Fist I finished. Took a lot.
Yeah, I finished Iron Fist.
You watched the whole thing in fast forward. It doesn't count what he says. Anyways, and all we know at the end of it is that Luke Cage ends up in jail, and that he's with Claire Temple. He's with the nurse. So she was another crossover into 3 shows now. So she makes the first 3 shows.
What was the name of the weapons dealer? He goes through all of them. It was Turk, who gets beaten up in every season.
Yeah, and they always all the good guys bail him out. Though. That's what's sick. Now we're gonna talk about Iron Fist. Iron Fist is Danny Rand. It was in an accident with his parents. His parents died, and he comes to this land called Kung Lung, which is where he becomes the Iron Fist. He learns how to fight. He does like karate and all this fighting stuff, and then he comes to New York, but when he was a kid, he didn't know what New York would be, so he comes to Hell's Kitchen and he finds out like he owns this tower that's been run by a family friend, but he doesn't know anything about the new world. He hasn't been around for years. So he comes in and everything is confusing, and he meets his old friends Ward and Joyce, and they're the Meachums, and they're helping run the tower and making everything for his business work out. The same enemy as the Hand. He doesn't exactly have a bigger enemy than that in either show. In the second season, he has a good enemy, actually.
He's supposed to be this best warrior, and he gets beaten up by, like, the most common hand.
He gets beaten up by everybody.
Yeah.
It was a good show, but he gets his ass kicked way too much. So Ward and Joyce have their dad, Harold. Harold was Danny's dad, but Harold is supposed to be dead. The Hand keeps him alive using Ward. Joyce, the sister, doesn't know that Harold is still alive, and Ward has been lying to her the whole time. Eventually she'll find out, but at one point Harold will die also from the Hand for not following along. Danny becomes sidekick with this chick named Colleen, who, what was her superhero name? She's like the White Winger.
Yeah. And then I remember...
I can't remember her name. Or like the Dove. I don't remember what it is, like the White Dove. Yeah. She actually is a hero, but just she's like a karate master.
Yeah.
He works for her. They end up becoming a thing. At one point, Danny gets beat so bad, Joyce takes him somewhere safe. I'm sorry, not Joyce. Colleen takes him somewhere safe, and Colleen takes him to this place where people are becoming the Hand, and she thinks it's okay, and Danny flips out on her and is like, no way, we can't be here. So that goes through a big fight. They keep fighting the hand. Danny's Iron Fist, by the way, all it really is his hand turns gold.
Yep.
And he can stop bullets.
He can punch really hard.
He can punch anything.
And usually it doesn't go well either. So
that's really it. But Danny does take an ass kicking a lot. That's the biggest thing in the show. All of these shows, these guys take. There's good fight scenes. That's the best part of it. It's really action packed most of the time. So the finale, Danny and Colleen decide, hey, we have to go find Kun Lung and help them to help us defeat the hand. And it was so climactic. It was so good because you wanted to see what would happen next because the door to Kun Lung was closed. They never ever go back to that. You never find out why it was closed, what happened, were his people killed, nothing. It's all blanked out. He doesn't seem to care about any of it.
There was a dragon in that season. That's the only thing I remember.
That's right. There was a dragon.
There was a dragon.
I actually forgot about that. Danny has a big dragon tattoo on his chest, which we'll talk about in season 2. So now is when all of these shows come together and they bring together the Defenders. The Defenders were the same in the comic book, just like in the show. So it was Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Iron Fist, and Luke Cage. Their enemy starts off as the Hand, so they're all fighting the same people. Luke Cage starts off out of jail, and he's with Claire. That's how I knew he went to jail, was because of the Defenders. I didn't actually notice it through Luke Cage because...
We didn't get through that.
We didn't do that
at all.
No. But then 4 episodes out of like the 13. So Stick, Daredevil's mentor, the blind guy we talked about, he's the one who brings everybody together. He gets them all together, and they're fighting the Hand together. And there's this cool restaurant scene, and it was part of the trailer, and it was pretty sweet. Everybody walks in, and this is after they fight in this hallway. You talk about the hallway scene, because...
The hallway scene, it kind of gets divided up. So there's the four main key players of the match. It's, what was it? Danny Rand.
The Iron Fist.
Yeah, Iron Fist and Luke Cage, they fight together. Which was actually kind of sick, because there was a scene where they were about to be shot at, so Luke Cage puts Danny in front of him, or Iron Fist in front of him, so he doesn't get hit.
Right.
And then the other matchup is with Jessica Jones and Daredevil. And Daredevil uses Jessica Jones's scarf because he didn't have his suit at the time.
Right, so he covers his eyes because, again, he doesn't want anyone to know he's blind, although the Defenders figured out pretty quick. So they go through this massive fight. It was in like a small hall. It was an awesome, awesome scene. I think it's in the 2nd episode. The Defenders was sadly only 8 episodes. It was a good show. So I think it was the 2nd episode, and then the next episode starts off how they all go to this restaurant that Danny owns, and they walk in, and Jessica asks, "Is that the shrimp?" And Matt goes, "No, that's pork. That's the shrimp," just based off of the smell, because that's how he uses his senses. It was very funny. It was a great scene. They all talk about fighting. They all kind of hate each other at first, and how they need to come together, and how Stick gets involved, and how they have to fight the Hand. Another big thing is that Elektra is back. You find out that the Hand found a way to bring her back to life. The biggest thing was, though, her memory had been erased.
Yeah.
So she has no clue who Matt is, which doesn't help. So she's kind of destructing the city, helping the Hand, and finally they figure out that she's involved. But again, the big problem is she doesn't know anything. So everybody
yes.
fights.
Yeah, Dylan.
Everybody.
Oh my God.
What is Elektra's nachos? Oh, that's
Elektra nachos.
I forgot that was her last name. I didn't know you watched any of that. I don't know how you know that she's Elektra nachos. So throughout the show, it's all big fighting. Really, there's no real side stuff going on. You find out this lady has cancer. She kind of disappears, doesn't come back for anything, which was kind of ridiculous. But it ends where they go into this underground fight, all the Defenders, against Elektra and the Hand. So there's this elevator shaft.
You sound like the Jennifer Garner I know. Alright, thanks.
There you go. Oh yeah, because she was Elektra and Daredevil, and Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck was Daredevil. People don't forget that.
Yeah.
Worst superhero ever. So there was the fight scene in the basement. How did the fight scene go on, and who kind of ended it? How did it end, and how did it end the show?
Well, it started off with Iron Fist. He was kidnapped by the Hand. And
right, I forgot about that.
Yeah, the Hand tricked him in the simplest way possible into unleashing the one thing he didn't want to be unleashed. What was it? If he punched a certain wall...
Oh, yeah, he cracked some wall to get to what they needed. That's right.
Yeah, if he
I actually forgot about that.
Yeah, he punched a certain wall, and
Isn't that what led to the underground?
Yeah, it led to the underground, which
is what, the hand needed something from underground.
It was dragon bones.
So.
Because.
That's right. He kills Elektra.
And he kills a man with a. What was it? A
card.
A pin, yeah. Yeah.
He has a card in his head.
Got him.
Anyways, so back to it. So there's this elevator that goes down, so they're all fighting the hand on the way down, and the big thing is that Matt won't give up on Elektra. Daredevil has a suit on, and he doesn't want to give up on her. He wants her to come back to him. She starts to remember him as the show goes on, is what you notice. And then at one point, you see that Matt tells something to Iron Fist, and you're thinking like, oh cool, this is going to be massive, what is it? And
they don't mention it ever again.
You don't find out. It's a mess. It's a big problem, because even in Iron Fist 2, he doesn't mention it at all.
Or even Season 3 of Daredevil.
Who plays Elektra in this version?
Ooh.
I don't know her name. She's, I think she's some Latino woman. I don't know her name. She's pretty. She's not Jennifer Garner, but she's pretty.
Yeah.
Same tights. So he tells Iron Fist something, and then he sits and talks to Elektra, and the building starts coming down. So Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist get back on it, but Matt doesn't. And the building collapses, and you're kind of just like, oh, alright, he chose to die with Elektra.
What was it? Wasn't Trish, or who was setting up, like, the explosives?
Oh, that's right.
They had to blow up the building.
Trish from Trish Talk came in to ruin everything again. Yeah. That's right.
So basically, all of New York lies on top of dragon bones that you can stay immortal,
right?
If you do something to
down and it keeps you alive forever. He's right. I forgot about that too. That's
what they had to do.
But anyway, so the building collapses on Matt and Elektra, and that's all you know from them. There's a couple scenes later, and it's just really everyone is still alive, doing their own thing now.
Except we don't know about Daredevil yet, but
right, Daredevil you don't find out about for a long time. After this, the Punisher gets released. And it was after Daredevil 2. And he goes by... Oh, no, he doesn't have the fake name yet.
Not yet.
He's still Frank Castle. So the show starts off, he's working in this construction site.
Yeah.
And this kid he's working with is getting into trouble. So he finds out about it.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's how it starts. He's in like some... It's like a drug deal or something.
Yeah. It was a drug deal gone wrong.
Yeah, and the kid didn't want to be involved in it. So Frank showed up, the Punisher, to kind of help the kid out, took care of it. Beat up his friends and everything.
Yes, Dylan. It's the version... It's Shane from The Walking Dead.
Yes. What was his real name?
John Bernthal.
Yes.
Yep.
I hate John Bernthal.
I like him.
I hate him in The Wolf of Wall Street a lot, and I hate him in The Walking Dead because of his character. But in The Punisher, he's fantastic. Yeah. He's really, really good. Anyway, so there are really not many characters involved in The Punisher. There are, and there aren't. So there's a cop.
But there's nothing really, like, mixing around with the other
Right, yeah. This show didn't have many other people besides Karen from Daredevil come in as a crossover character. So he has these old friends. Their names are Billy, and what was the other guy's name?
Billy and... Are you talking about Scar
Curtis,
guy?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wait, Curtis. That
not Scar guy. I don't know
one-legged...
Yeah, so
medic.
Curtis and him were in the military or something together.
Yeah.
And Curtis has one leg, and he hosts these, like, group meetings for people with, like, PS.
Wasn't bad in Fury. I didn't get to watch that.
Oh, that's right, he was in Fury.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch that yet.
That's a good movie.
Alright.
Anyways, so Frank kind of goes to these meetings little bit by little bit. Doesn't exactly stay for them, just helps clean up a little bit. And Curtis tells him, oh, you can come back to him.
Yeah.
They also have this friend, Billy, who ends up sleeping with this agent. Her name is Madani. She is kind of looking for Frank, but at the same time working with him because he's kind of taking care of the bad guys for them, but in the wrong way. He's a killer, like we've talked about. And they also have this character named Micro. You talk about Micro because he's awesome.
I love Micro because... Well, it was their first interaction, he tricks him into going into the wrong diner, and then he's on the opposite rooftop, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, but why? What is Micro good at? Like, use his nickname as your answer.
Micro does anything with computers. He can hack into any system he can get it.
He's a hacker, so he can get into your cell phone, and he gets Frank to go on this goose hunt to, like, nowhere. Eventually, they end up having to meet. Group up and get this partnership. It becomes pretty great.
Was Who took who? Was Micro knocked out, or...
Micro took Frank
Yeah.
back to his little hideout, which
Yeah.
is like underground in that weird roomed area.
Yes.
And Micro, you find out, has a family. His family thinks he's dead, but he uses the computer systems in their house and he watches them on all the computers. And Frank kind of helps out when things go wrong. So if her kids need something, or if his kids need something, or if the wife needs something, Frank goes and takes care of it for Micro because they become friendly. At one point, Frank gets shot.
And
him and
I think so, yeah.
And Micro reaches out to Curtis.
Hi, Jill.
To... What does that say?
It's from your mom.
Yes, I saw that. Oh, she said hi to you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Micro helps out with Curtis stitching back up Frank to make him better again. Micro and Frank get the partnership, the safety.
Then,
so Frank,
yeah.
Big thing is he needs to get into... I don't remember how it comes about. The enemy's, like the bad guy's house.
Because what was it,
Who maybe set up killing his family? I don't remember.
Frank worked for the special, like...
I think he was like a spec ops guy.
Yeah.
That's right.
It was like no one knows about this team.
Right.
And didn't they kill a target that...
I think they did things on their own, too. Yeah, there was, like, the job that they were supposed to do, but the job that their, like, captain made them do. That's right. Yeah. That rings a bell.
And so, Frank basically has PTSD from the whole incident.
That's the whole show.
Yeah.
And that, and it goes back to that, because they went and did this job, Frank's family got killed because of it, and that's what sparks Frank to become crazy.
Yeah.
So Micro helps him sneak into this guy's house knowing when the cameras are going to go on and off, and that was a really good episode too.
Was that with the sniper with bulletproof glass?
That was
right there.
Right after. That was sick. We're going to talk about that too. So at one point, Frank also needs to find who he finds out who set up the attack on his family. So he goes and scopes out the area, and he finally gets a shot on the guy who did it, and the episode ends where he pulls the trigger, and it's bulletproof glass on this guy's house. And it was crazy because...
dead on, like, forehead.
Yeah, you see it.
It would have been...
It leaves like a bullseye mark almost on the guy's head, but through the glass. So it didn't happen to kill him yet.
Which, that was terrible, his kill. Like, his death was horrifying to watch.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
It was with the pencil, and then...
Yeah.
Oh my god.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Anyways. So that ends in a huge manhunt against the Punisher. He has to run out, find his way out. And I think that's when Curtis comes back to save him, too, at one more time.
He gets hurt pretty badly.
Yeah, he gets, like, pretty shot down. It's like a whole night wild goose chase. It was pretty sick. And then we're going to talk about the finale. So before the finale, though, is when it was like a torture scene. Frank captures this guy. And go ahead.
And what was it? Micro set it up so it would be live streamed throughout the entire world.
Right, I forgot they hooked it up.
And so it basically exposed this secret government spec ops group, as well as this man, which I can't think of his name.
I know, I can't remember any of the villains' names.
He was
call them villains.
He was like the main. He was like the director of
he was like the
CIA or something like that.
Who set everything up that was done wrong.
And so Frank is being absolutely tormented by this guy.
Because they capture the Punisher. He doesn't capture them.
And then, what was it? Was the adrenaline thing? The adrenaline shot to keep him awake?
Yeah, they kept doping him up to keep him up. They didn't want him to fall asleep on them while they were torturing him because he was just being hung up.
So Frank gets a huge shot of adrenaline, which kicks him into overdrive, where he basically takes the guy, throws him on the ground, finds a pencil, or I think it was broken glass.
The one time they were left alone. You don't get left alone with the Punisher.
And he literally jabbed him in the throat maybe 100 times, and then...
Yeah, he just cut this guy up with a pencil. It was...
Gouged his eyes out.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was a crazy scene. It's something that... It's cool, because these shows, when you think of Marvel... You know, I mean, you're a little younger than I am, but, like, when I think of Marvel, like, my originals go back to, like, Spider-Man and...
Yeah, but, like...
The bad Incredible Hulk.
Spider-Man Homecoming, this is the same universe as that. Is that...
That's what they talk about. That's a big thing.
That's weird.
I don't think they're ever going to cross into it, to be honest, but it should be. But Marvel took these shows and basically made them... Netflix, took these shows and basically made them rated R, and it spiced things up. It changed the universe a little bit.
Good.
And that's the thing, it made you binge-watch pretty much every one of these series because you wanted to see how they related to the others and how...
Yeah.
What would happen next, and that's what they kept doing, was following everything up one after the other. So the finale goes where Micro's family sees him. In order to keep everybody safe, Micro fakes his own death, and Frank cuts a deal with Madani to abide by the law.
Yes.
Technically
Yeah,
it
Dylan.
is, yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Like, there's some references to what's known as the New York incident, which is just Avengers 1.
Avengers 1 with the Chitauri attack.
Yeah.
All the shows are post that.
Mm.
So they know about the giant aliens coming through the sky and Iron Man saving everybody.
Yeah.
That's how they saw it. Don't forget that. The next show was Jessica Jones 2. It was... You watched it, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like it. I thought it was.
It was non-climactic.
Yeah,
it was kind of.
It's kind of forgettable. So you watch it and you don't really remember what you just watched.
Finale wasn't great. Opening episode wasn't great. So basically, the show starts off. Jessica's just doing her work as a PI.
She has a little bit of PTSD.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was something weird.
Yeah, but it also helps with the alcohol.
And then
so I don't know
she
if
just
you can actually
becomes more of a
go and do it the same way. But she.
Yeah, Dad. Yeah.
What did he talk about?
That in Daredevil season 1, he even mentions the attack on New York.
Oh, that's right. I didn't think. I couldn't remember if it was that or
because it was there was a newspaper in the back of.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, like you saw it.
And
but it
it's
was
like
a
the
telephone
New
pole or
York
something.
thing.
Yeah. I forgot about that. So that was cool. Netflix kind of got into that, but I think the whole 20th Century Fox thing ruined that.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Jessica Jones starts off where the episode is going on, the premiere, and you're kind of figuring out what's going on, what you're catching up to, and then Jessica talks about how he's back. So like in my head, I'm thinking, oh great, it's Kilgrave. This is gonna be awesome. They're gonna bring him back for a season 2, even though in season 1 she ended up killing him. We forgot to talk about that.
Yeah.
So really quick finale for season 1. Jessica goes to fight Kilgrave. She finds him, and her and Trish need like a code word, something that Jessica would never do or say, to let her know that Kilgrave doesn't have Jessica under her control because she's the only person he can't control. We forgot all that too. Yep. What did your dad say? That's how they got the office they rented.
For so cheap.
Oh, that's right. And Daredevil.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, look at you.
Thanks, Dad.
That's very good.
That was a good one.
Nice job. Maybe I'll give you a prize. So yeah, Jessica comes out and she's standing next to Kilgrave and Trish is freaked out 'cause she's like, oh my gosh. And Trish and Jessica came to the terms that Jess is just going to say, I love you, because it's not something she would normally say, to let Trish know, hey, I'm not under his control. So she says it and turns and just snaps his neck.
Yeah.
So season 2 starts off, blah, 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 the end of the episode, and basically she says, oh, he's back. And again, it's like, who's back? And you find out it's not Kilgrave. And it's kind of disappointing because you're like, oh, wow, I was really looking forward to another Kilgrave show. That guy Simpson comes back at one point. They find him dead because he thinks he's helping there.
Weird drugs, though.
Yeah, all these people are taking like these pills that make them like kind of superhuman, but not for long, and they have this really bad crash, and it comes out that they're addictive. So even her friend Trish takes them because she wants to be strong and help Jessica, but Trish is an idiot, like I said. So she becomes a psycho. She gets hooked on these drugs. She becomes an addict. She finds this guy Simpson. She goes and does all these things behind Jess's back to try and help out. Jess doesn't want her help because she knows she can't keep her safe. And basically you find out that the bad guy in the show is going to be the guy who made Jessica a metahuman. She wasn't born that way. She was like captured or taken away and brought into this like hospital area, I guess, and turned into who she is. It's not climactic. I mean, if you think it sounds cool, go watch it. If you watched it, add your input, please. The best part about the whole show was that there was one episode where Jessica needed to find... She knows the whole show. She needs to find this guy and kill him to stop everything that's going on. And who comes back to remind her that he sounds kind of like her?
Kilgrave comes back for one episode. And it was the best episode throughout the entire season.
Hands down. It wasn't a better episode.
Because I can't think of...
Everything she did, he was there. And she was pissed that he was there. But he was telling her... Oh, you could do this, but I would do that, and you're gonna do what I would do, and he doesn't have her under his control, but she kind of knows deep down, like, I do need to do what he would do at this point. But he's basically just tormenting the whole episode, and by the end, she finally knocks him out of there and realizes, like, he's not real, he's not there anymore, that's all done with. Again, I don't remember the season finale.
Nope.
Maybe I know she found the guy, But Trish...
Trish is an addict, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's really...
Trish still is doing what she's doing. She's still taking the pills to make her stronger to try and help Jessica out, which doesn't help.
Yeah.
And the next show was Iron Fist Season 2. Wasn't terrible. There was no continuation like we talked about. So when the Defenders kicked off, the first scene was actually Danny and Colleen. But it has nothing to do with the door to Kunlun being closed, which... It's kind of how you wanted everything to start, and Season 2 doesn't start that way. Him and Colleen are together, living in an apartment, turned her dojo into an apartment, which is kind of cool, actually. There's no continuation, but Ward is in the show. The dad is... Harold was dead. Did you watch it at all?
No, not at all.
Okay. Joyce is kind of psycho and decides she wants half the company. She's suing Danny and Ward. So she goes and finds this guy Davos, who is Danny's friend from Kunlun, and Danny beat Davos in a fight to become the Iron Fist. Davos goes and finds these tattoo artists and uses Joyce as like his money and everything, and she kind of encourages it all, not realizing that she's helping the bad guy out, and Davos gets the same tattoo as Danny, and all they need is like his blood. And he goes and fights Danny and wins. They get Danny's blood, and he becomes the Iron Fist. Danny loses the fist, and Davos has it, and Davos is training all these young kids to become the new Iron Fister. They're kind of like the Hand, to be honest, but not the same thing. Not very climactic again. Danny has to use Joyce to backstab Davos. The big thing is that Colleen and Danny have to break up, because Colleen says, if you need me to train you to fight, to help become the Iron Fist, we can't be together anymore, so Danny sacrifices Colleen for the fist, decides to get the fist. He goes and fights Davos. He ends up getting it back, and he doesn't kill Davos. I don't remember, again, it was just one of those things. It's kind of like, what are you doing with the show? Like, let us know where you're going to go and let us know what you're going to do next, but they don't. It was like there was no plan. So they kind of ended it where Danny and Colleen weren't friends. Danny went and did his own thing. And then we're going to talk about Daredevil 3 now. We are not going to spoil. We're going to talk about the show. We're going to give up one little thing. Everything else, there's going to be no spoilers. Then we're going to talk about The Punisher 2 briefly. And again, we're not going to spoil, so this isn't ruining any of the show for you. Don't worry. So Daredevil 3 literally starts off at the end of The Defenders. So you saw... Yeah. Matt get crushed. Go ahead and talk about the opening of Daredevil 3.
So as we said, the Rand building from from Defenders got blown up on top of Elektra and Daredevil. Daredevil wakes up on the beach, I think it was. I think so.
Yeah, and someone finds him.
Yeah, and then
he tells him to bring him to Father Lantham. This is a guy who knows that Matt is Daredevil, and he goes to him. He's a preacher. And he goes to him often for whatever he can...
Just advice.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like his own kind of little mentor, voice inside his head kind of guy. Keeps his angel on his shoulder.
But I think this is what ties in back to Daredevil Season 2, is because of the whole bad day situation. I think the end of Defenders was his bad day.
Okay.
Like...
I like that. I never thought of it like that. I never looked at it like that.
Because what was it? Like, he just doesn't care about being Daredevil anymore at that point.
At one point, the big quote in the show is, and I posted this on my personal account with a picture of Matt Murdock, was, I'd rather die as the devil than live as Matt Murdock, which is, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
It's kind of messed up, but it is awesome. And the big thing is, when Matt wakes up, he realizes that what goes on while Matt is out, Matt is out for a while. He's got like weeks under, he's not around, he's got this nun helping him the whole time. And he finds out that Wilson Fisk is in jail still.
Yeah. Back from Season 1.
Right. You're going to find out that Fisk still controls everything, and Fisk gets attacked in prison. He gets moved to this hotel that Karen finds out is owned by this company that Wilson Fisk actually owns also. So she thinks it's kind of sick and twisted how did he go from prison to a place he actually owns, and his hotel is nice. It's like a 5-star suite.
Yeah, it's a penthouse.
It's set up however he wants. Yeah. He gets all the paintings he wants. He gets all the meals he wants. And Matt wakes up to hear all this, that he was released from jail, so Matt's freaking out like, oh my god. Matt comes to terms that the only way to stop Fisk...
the only way to stop Fisk is...
He decides he has to kill him.
Yep.
He's got to go against everything he's ever said. So he starts training to become Daredevil, potentially. He doesn't wear the suit in season 3.
No,
That's a cool part of
he's
it.
back to his original black mask and...
Right, he goes back into the vigilante suit. So during...
I think that one looks better than the devil suit.
The suit was cool, but it was awesome how at the end of season 1, because all of a sudden you were like, finally, it's the suit. And season 2, you were like, great, you have the suit the whole time.
Yep.
And, you know, it just came in even better with the Punisher breaking the mask and all these things. But in season 3, he doesn't put it on. He wants to stay the vigilante because Daredevil is wanted. Fisk admits that he uses Matt Murdock and the Daredevil, because he doesn't know they're the same person yet,
Yep.
to... Okay, anyways.
Okay.
Good, you figured it out.
You can't talk about a certain scene without...
Yeah, now I can't do
mentioning
that. Okay, that's fine. So we're not going to talk about that scene. Anyways, so Fisk kind of blackmails Murdock and Daredevil, who really aren't around because nobody knows Matt's still alive. Karen and Foggy think he's dead. Foggy runs for city council.
Yeah. He's even threatened by Fisk to stop running.
And that's the thing. Fisk controls his brother, and Fisk controls like all the laws and everything. Matt comes out, and he stays at the church. Oh, so anyway, before we go to that, during Fisk's movement from the jail to the hotel, there's an attack. There's a raid, and everything is looking bad. You see Fisk, and it's a scene where you're kind of like, oh crap, Fisk is about to get murdered by these people, and it's not the Hand. There's just these agents, and somebody saves him. What's the agent's name that saves him?
Poindexter.
Agent Poindexter saves him. Agent Poindexter is a weirdo. Yeah, it's too long, and it's got that oin. I don't like the oins.
Yeah, who names their child that, though?
Well, his name was Ben.
No, it was like... Oh, wait, yeah.
Or Alex.
No, it was Ben.
It was Benjamin Poindexter.
Ben Poindexter.
Give some of Ben's backstory-ish. Remember, with the girl and...
So basically, as a kid... What was it, his parent? Well, he was in an orphanage.
Yeah, he was another orphan.
He was another orphan that... I can't talk about that.
He had perfect aim with everything. It was pretty sick.
Yeah.
He was like a pitcher, and he got pissed at his coach because his coach would take him out and he'd be throwing a perfect game. He'd have 27... not 27, whatever it is, the number of strikes you need to throw a perfect game, and you get pulled, and he kind of got this attitude from it. So he goes and sees this shrink, and he keeps all the tapes from the shrink. He's got a big mental problem. He is a stalker.
Well, the tapes are the only way he can stay sane. Really.
Right, so when he's having like an episode, he puts on these headphones, he listens to these tapes that he keeps in a safe the whole time in like his closet.
A lot of weapons for...
Guns, ammo, it's crazy, and you're like, oh, but you have these tapes with this old school, like, headset. So yeah, you find out that he's kind of a nut, and the big thing is, he tries, like, tormenting Fisk, but it doesn't work. Like, he'll take a bite of his food, because Fisk is so anal about everything, but Fisk doesn't take to it. Finally, Fisk kind of tells Poindexter, like, you need me, and they end up working together, finally. And Fisk has a lot of these cops under his control, and there's a new cop on the scene. His name is Nadeem, and Nadeem is kind of like, he's looking for Daredevil, but he knows Matt, and Matt and him kind of work things out together. Look at all these texts I'm getting. Yeah. Anyways.
Group chats, though.
Yes, it doesn't even count. It's not to me.
No. But, what was it? Nadeem is, like, the only...
good guy.
True cop, like...
Right, but he's also an idiot.
Yeah. He falls into everything.
Another idiot. The show just produces it.
Endless amount of them.
Yeah. Anyways,
But I did like his character more than
yeah,
Trish
he was a good character.
Karen.
He was good for
anything. Her entire episode is terrible. I hated everything about that.
Yeah.
She hasn't her own episode in season 3, and oh my god.
I just watched it too.
I hated that episode.
It was on High Rock. Anyway, so that goes on. So Fisk gets this guy Poindexter to help him out. Fisk goes to Melvin and has him make a duplicate Daredevil costume for Poindexter, puts him in it, and he uses him to like portray himself as Daredevil to be the bad guy, and he goes and he tries to kill Karen and all these people, and Matt shows up as the vigilante, defends as many people as he can, but because people died, they think, oh, Daredevil killed everybody.
Yeah.
And that's not really how it went
Basically
down.
ruining the name of Daredevil.
Correct.
Which is why he went back to the original suit,
Right. Exactly. So it turned, like, he had to be Matt Murdock, and he had to be the vigilante, because he could no longer be Daredevil, because Daredevil was wanted. He was given this bad name that he started killing people and everything. So all these cops get put into this group. So Nadim is the final person put into the group. And this is one of the things we're going to leak. This is not a major thing, because it's something, again, we talked at the beginning. You probably know already. Yeah. They sit down, and it's Poindexter and all these other cops and agents, and Nadim goes, is this Wilson Fisk's group? And they say, no, we don't call him by that name, because his code name is...
Kingpin.
Wilson Fisk is the Kingpin. They finally, season 3, this guy's been in the show for 3 seasons, and you finally realize that, well, you don't realize it.
You know.
They admit that he's the Kingpin. So he's got everything under his control. He basically controls all of New York, Hell's Kitchen. Even though he's been in jail, nothing has changed. He's got everybody doing everything for him. So Matt originally learned how to train fighting by doing, what did you read they were called?
Mai Tai ropes.
These Mai Tai ropes. He ties these ropes around his fists, and I guess it packs a deeper punch. I would never want to be punched by him, to be honest. And that's how he starts fighting everybody again, until he goes to fight Poindexter. And it's how he decides he's going to fight Fisk at the end of the show. Because he still thinks in his head, he's going to tell himself, I have to kill Wilson Fisk. It's the only way to stop him. Isn't Kingpin?
Yeah. He's also a Spider-Man
I was going to say, if you remember when we were kids, Chobes, you weren't, I don't even think you were alive. The Amazing Spider-Man, he was Spider-Man's main villain. There was like this massive building in New York City that Fisk ran. It was kind of like the Chrysler building. So yeah, he comes in a lot of things. Even in comics, he's like a lot of main enemies. Nemo lives in a So yeah, so the whole thing goes, they're fighting, and Matt realizes, I have Fisk cornered, I can get to him. And all of a sudden he gets a call that Karen is in trouble, they have somebody ready to kill Karen. So he has to decide, do I let Karen die, or do I go and fight for her instead of killing Fisk? And he does. We're not going to leak anything about that. The fight took place in the church between him and Poindexter. And another great fight scene. And this show just had tons of fight scenes. There was a scene where Matt decides to go in as Foggy into a jail. Do you remember that one?
Wait, what?
The fight scene where Foggy, he goes in as Foggy, and then he gets his ass handed to him, almost. Like,
really? I can't remember that.
Yeah, it was like episode 4, because I texted you right after it, too, and I said I just watched the jail scene.
The jail fight scene? Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's the one I was talking about that I don't know if we can talk about, because how it leads up to it.
We can talk about it. There's nothing crazy. What is here?
I don't know. You can fight him.
I didn't know that. Guys, to talk about the jail scenes. So he goes in and he's talking to this one guy, and this guy doesn't want to leak any information, and Fisk's men are in on it, and they're listening to everything.
Yeah.
So Matt thinks he's gonna leave, and then that's when...
Are you talking about the camera scene where Wilson Fisk is watching from the camera, and then it becomes the 11-minute thing?
Yes.
Alright, so...
This was a 6 scene. I think this was episode 4. It was incredible.
This scene I'm gonna have to leak, because Wilson Fisk finally finds out that Matt Murdock and Daredevil are the same person.
Right.
And that's how he lures him into this room.
Correct.
Turns out that the supposed doctor is actually one of Wilson Fisk's men, and he's trying to beat up Matt.
Right.
Because Matt doesn't have a suit at the moment.
He's just walking as a regular person. Yeah, he's a regular person.
And, what was it? It goes on for an 11-minute fight scene that was probably one of the best choreographed scenes I've seen in a long time.
It was incredible. You literally thought that Matt was gonna... Like, this could be it. He could die.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, the show might really kill him off, but you have the other characters that can carry, and it was incredible. Basically, Fisk's men finally decide, hey, we're going to get you out.
Yep.
They get him out and everything, and he realizes, oh, crap.
Then this is where they find out that the guy who stabbed Fisk was in on it.
Right. That's how they find out. Matt goes in, and he finds out that the guy who attacked Fisk paid to get on him, so he could get moved to a hotel for what the rest of the show will become that we're not going to finish going on about, really. We talked about how the Foggy and Karen get Matt finally, and they decide, hey, we need to go through the justice system to bring Fisk down, and Matt agrees, and he's like, fine, whatever. And just when you thought everything was going well in a court case, somebody gets up, and you realize that they're working for Fisk, and they were threatened, and they have to give in.
This was a great reveal.
Yeah, this is crazy. And Matt finally says, I gotta go back out there, I gotta put on the mask one more time to fight Fisk. And that's where we're gonna leave it. That's where we're gonna leave season 3. Incredible. If you watched 1 and 2, watch 3. If you didn't watch 1 and 2, watch 1 and 2. And then recently, The Punisher came out, which I haven't seen. So we're not going to leak anything. So I'm going to pretty much just ask Bobby all these questions about it. Go ahead.
Sum up the intro, at least the first few episodes of it. So basically, what's been happening is after Punisher season 1, he gets a deal with Madani where he has an alternate name, what was it? I don't even...
He gets like an alias, like a different name.
So he's
Frank Castle.
now known as Pete Castiglione. Oh my god. Castiglione, I think it was. Like and he lives in... He just moves around constantly. So now he stops in this bar just at random and he sees that this girl is being followed by these men. And he can obviously tell that these people are going to do harm to this girl. So they all go into the bathroom. He busts in through the door and she's basically being attacked by these 3 people.
Okay.
And he just destroys all 3 of them. And they're all supposed to be these like highly trained individuals.
So the show starts with another fight scene.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think there's like some of my favorite kills by Daredevil, by Punisher in it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's one where he just takes a guy by the side of the head and he throws him through a sink, basically.
Okay.
And then it goes on for...
violence is real.
Oh yeah, then he kills maybe 10 to 15 more people outside of that, one other hero. Who would you pick?
From the Netflix universe or overall?
We can do both. I like seeing him with Daredevil if it's Netflix-wise, but overall...
Yeah, because their fight scenes together were incredible. Overall, who's like a good bad guy? You know who would be a good fight, though? Him and the Winter Soldier.
That'd be a good one. Yeah. I do want to see Captain... Because Captain America could be good as well.
Yeah, but they're so different.
Exactly.
That's a good question.
Because what was it? There's that whole storyline in the comics that... What was it? Captain America's literally beating up the Punisher, but the Punisher refuses to fight back because he basically looks up to the Captain.
Yeah, he won't fight.
Captain America.
I think you told me that the first time. Overall, Venom. I'm picking Venom.
That'd be a good one.
Punisher and Venom. That's a good one. I like that a lot.
Does Punisher have Venom or
like Venomized? I love Venomized.
Overall, Nick.
Yeah, I'm still going with
Nick Fury.
Fuck Nick Fury. Oh my god, stupid eye patch. He doesn't even fight. And he called in Captain Marvel. I'm not going to talk about that. I hate her too.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that's going to be good.
So what characters come back for Punisher Season 2?
Turk comes back. Micro doesn't come back.
That's sad.
Which I was really annoyed about.
I'm going to watch
it. Madani comes back.
Okay.
The main villain of this one is Punisher's best friend.
That guy Billy?
Is Billy.
Who was sleeping with Madani at first. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Who...
Does he have like powers or no? He's just...
No, they're just too extremely accurate.
Okay.
and like hand-to-hand combat.
Choose to go at it.
Ghost Rider is my choice. That's a good one.
Ghost Rider the Punisher is good too. I like that too. I always forget about him.
How can you forget about Nicolas Cage?
Oh my god! Don't say that.
Don't mention Nicolas Cage.
Well, no, just when I forgot that he was the Ghost Rider. It's like Ben Affleck being dead.
In 2 movies.
Yeah.
No, we're not talking about Deadshot.
No, because that's DC. We can't cross over. That's a good fight, though.
That'd be a good
That's a good video game fight. If that was the thing, I'd watch that all day. Him and Deadshot. Wow, I forgot about that.
That's a nice one. That's basically like the same character going up against each other.
Yeah.
That'd be another one with like Wade. What was it? Like Deadpool versus. Oh, I can't think of it. It's basically Slade, but
yeah, he gets like cut up. I don't know his name. All right, so we're running out of time because we're only going for an hour. I didn't know we'd go this long again, so we're gonna wrap it up. Hope everyone liked it.
Yep.
Again, going for the 100 follower giveaway, a big thing for me. We did some question and answers tonight, which was cool. I always do a giveaway for my guests, so real quick before our 30 seconds run out, Bobby, this one is for you. Bobby is a big SpongeBob fan, so we'll go with...
That's kind of great.
Patrick Star sucking on his candy cane. Again, get me to the 100 followers, guys. Help out a little bit. We're so close. I'm like 13 away last time I checked before the show started. I'm going to do 2 controller giveaways. I'll tell you what it is if you're on the show. 2 controllers, give it away. Give him our cat. We're not going to give Bobby our cat. But anyways, all right. Thank you so much again, guys, for watching. Hope you enjoyed. We will see you next Tuesday. I don't know what the show will be on. You'll get a post about it. Thank you.
All right. That was a lot of fun.